Hello my lovely nestlings and welcome to today's video where I'm going to review for you the newest palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Rose Metals. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Nikki. I am from the Netherlands. I'm also slightly orcish and I am relatively vintage. And if you hear weird noises, my son is actually practicing on his saxophone. So it could be that you hear that. Let me give you some explanations though. The slightly orcish means that I am a light, medium, warmish olive, and that's kind of important today. And the relatively vintage means I'm 46. I also have ADHD and I'm autistic, so I'm the complete package. Yay me! So never mind that. Can you tell that I'm excited? This palette will officially launch the 26th of September at abh.com, and I will link the website down below. I don't exactly know when it will come to retailers, but when I went to check out my local Douglas store, they had it in store, and it was the same thing with the previous palette that she released. I also got it early and I bought mine in store. I paid 58 euros for it, and in today's video I'm going to tell you if I think that I spent... does sound good. That I spent my money wisely, or that I'm very sad that I bought this palette. So I will show you two looks and I will give you my opinion while you are watching the looks. The name is Rose Metals and it's an eyeshadow and pressed pigment palette. I hope I don't get demonetized. There is one pressed pigment warning, and that's the shade Dune. They say it's not intended for use around the immediate eye area. They have this disclaimer largely for the USA because the dyes that they are using are considered eye safe in Europe. I did use the shade Dune, but if you are sensitive to staining, for instance, it could be that it stains, and you could also potentially get eye irritation if you're sensitive to any of the ingredients that they use. Let's just give the disclaimer, and otherwise just do as I say and not as I do. It's the same size as the previous one, the Nouveau palette. I think that this looks very pretty. I like that there's no brush in here because I have my own brushes that I love to use. I also love how the outside is looking. It's just, I don't know, it feels sleek, luxurious. It looks fancy, like me. Never mind. Never mind. You get 12 shades. You get a combination of mattes and shimmers. There are also different shimmer finishes in here. You get 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 4 true mattes. And it's a combination of warm and cool toned. And I think this is a very interesting color story. So then in the first look that I did, I wanted to show you with the looks, I wanted to show you a warmish one and kind of a cooler one. I wanted to mix it up a little bit because I do have to say that when I see this color combination, especially after playing with it, there are color combinations that I want to do. I love monochromatic looks. I love that, and then with an accent on the lower lash line or in the inner corner, I love that, and I think that this palette will lend itself very well for that. So for the first look, I wanted to have it a little bit more orangey, so I just wanted to play. I did not set my eyeshadow base because I never do, and I started with the shade Sunrose. I then also used the shade Dune to darken that up a little bit lower, and at the end I basically deepened it up with the shade Noble, which is the darkest matte in the palette. I think that what I noticed first off is that there is a little bit of kick up in the pan, not heaps but a little, and the shadows are very pigmented. I used synthetic brushes, and I think that if you're using real haired brushes you will get even more pigment. It was very easy to blend out. I did not have any patchiness whatsoever. The shimmers that I used, I felt, while they are very pretty, I think that these are shimmers that are very well suited to use with your finger. I don't like to do that. I like to use brushes. So what I noticed is when I used it dry without a shimmer primer, without spraying the brush, it was nice, but it was more subdued, which is fine. I like that you can play with that. And when I sprayed the shades, it was a little bit more intense, and I really like how the first look came out. I also love that you can just match it up like that. I think it looked very pretty, and it was very easy to work with. The rest of the makeup that I used to finish off the look will be listed down below though. So I started with the shade Ashes, and on me, it's, I don't know, is it a taupe? Probably. But me being an olive, it kind of warps a little bit, but not too much. I think that the shadow is still very, very pretty. And I really just wanted to do a very, very simple look. So that's why I just grabbed the shade Noble to darken it up. I did try to get it true to pan, which I can do, but I will have to start with the shade Noble. That's just it for me. Yeah, I don't mind it that the darker shadows are shimmers. I do prefer the darker shade to be a matte. So for me personally, color story wise, I would have preferred if the shade Noble had been as dark as the shade Nocturne. I love that it is a shimmer because I think that the shadow is extremely stunning. I love that color, but I personally prefer that my darkest shadow is a matte. It's just easier for me. But let's kind of go to performance, because what I noticed right away is that the mattes are very pigmented, but very, very easy to work with. And I noticed that in her previous palette as well. I have 3 palettes from her right now. I have the Subculture, I have the Nouveau, and I have this one. I have tried the Emrezy palette. I did not like it at all. I love the Subculture. And what I love here is that you get the pigmentation of the Subculture, but you get an easy formula to work with. The mattes for me, what I noticed, not setting my eyeshadow base, but what I noticed is that it's very, very easy to work with them. So what I did is I just tapped on the first layer and I basically used a transition shade and set my base with that. And when you do it like that, it's very, very easy to layer that on top. Not indefinitely, but you can very easily do a one colored crease with this if you want to. It's that easy to use. So matte shadow wise, I'm very, very impressed. I'm very impressed and I really do like the colors. I just wish that this one was a little bit deeper, but that's personal preference. Let's then go to the shimmers. Now, I did not use all the shimmers. I'm very well aware. There are, though, as I said, different finishes in here. So let's kind of start at the beginning then. So the shade Rose Quartz, it's a satin, but it's a very smooth satin. So when shadows that usually look like this are, in my experience, a little bit drier. So when I picked it up with a small brush and it was just dry and I put it on the lower lash, and I was like, ooh, that is a very, very nice smooth shadow that I really want to have all over my lid. So I think it's very, very pretty if you do this one all over your lid and then basically blend that one out with this, or even with the shade Noble. The shade Element are also older, more old school shimmers. And what do I mean by that? If you look here in the outer corner, where am I? There, I actually have the shade Element there, which is not as shiny. Shade Royal kind of feels like an old school shimmer, but as you can see on my lower lash line, it does have a little bit of shine, and I expect if you spray it or use it with your finger or on top of a shimmer primer, it will be very, very pretty. The shade Haze I did not use, but it's a shade that I love. The color I love. I think that it is a very nice shiny shadow. So more towards a foiled shade, because again, if you spray this or use this on top of a shimmer primer, it gets more intense, and I like that you can play with that. They describe this palette as something that you can use during the day and also at night, and I agree. I like that it is not very pink leaning as well. Me being an olive, there are certain pink shades that just don't work for me. I did see a reaction on Instagram, someone saying it's not really rosy for a palette that is called Rose, but I actually disagree, because it's called Rose Metals, not Rosy Metals. This is a color story that is, I think, very flattering for me, being a warmer olive. I think that if you are a cooler olive, you can still use this. I think, at least. I'm very, very happy that I picked it up, because the color story, it's not something that I expected to like as much. But having worked with it, seeing the different colors, seeing how they look on my skin, and then the ease with which they work, I think that I will grab for this palette quite a bit. I think it's just such a unique combination of shadows. While it's not just cool toned and warm toned, it's the mix that they made I don't have in my collection. Now, I have a very colorful collection. If you check out my channel, I have a lot of colorful eyeshadow palettes, so I don't have a lot of neutral palettes. But this, I feel, is for me an addition to my collection for sure, and I'm very happy that I picked it up. So at the end of the day, do I think it is worth the money that I paid, which is 58 euro? Yes. Yes, I do. I love the quality that she is doing right now. What I actually hope though is that she, and that's my hope, that she will revamp the Subculture palette in this format and this quality, that darkness, that depth. Yeah, that's what I'm missing personally. But this is very much a palette that I can recommend. If you love neutrals, I think that you will really like this palette. If you like color, I also think you will like this palette, because looking at what I can do with this, you know, just this all over the lid, you have and then this in the inner corner, you have a very pretty burgundy, you know, yummy color. You can go orange, you can go, what I love is, and I'm going to do that, is the dark gray on top. So this one and this one on the lid, and then probably this one, or maybe just this one in the crease. And then a burgundy bottom like I did right now. I love that. I think that is very, very pretty. But this is a palette that it would have made it perfection for me, as I said, if this brown was a dark, more neutral toned brown. Maybe kind of like my hair. But that would have been perfection for me. As it stands, I think it was worth my money, and I'm very, very happy that it was, because the Amrezy certainly wasn't. So let me know if you are excited. Let me know if my review helped. If you have any questions, please let me know down below in the comment section. If you want to see the Nouveau palette in action, that one will be listed underneath the cards, and at my end screen I will link, what will I link on my end screen? Eyeshadow reviews, so you can browse what I have. And yeah, that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to wish you a fantastic day, a fabulous evening. May your foundation always match your neck, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys!